Welcome to the second episode of Accessing the Akashic Records, Universal Belief Analysis, Exospirituality. So what are the most common concepts throughout the world's religions? Where else do they appear? Are these commonalities truly universal throughout space and time? Come on, let's wrap our minds around it. Welcome back to Accessing the Akashic Records. First belief we're going to look at, or first religion we're going to look at in the Universal Belief Analysis, is Jainism. Started approximately 500 BCE, or before Common Era. There's no creator as such. Everything just was. The universe is eternal, so they're kind of saying that it is God, but not without saying that. Anyway, their main philosophy is to be of service to others. So doing everything more in benefit to everyone else, and in turn that assists yourself. It's one of the most beautiful religions. I truly do love it. All life is equal, so everything from insects to grass and plants and everything in between to bears, animals, dogs, cats, humans, you name it, everything is equal. Everything that is life is equal. Life is life. Doesn't matter. Reincarnation exists. So that means the soul goes through a process of learning, gaining certain experience in order to progress. And to be able to break that cycle, you need to balance your emotions, seek truth, seek love, seek unity. There's also something that I haven't put down here, that they believe in these 7 dimensions, 7 heavens, or 7 worlds to exist, and also there's 7 below that, 7 underworlds. So keep that in mind too, because that's kind of a prophecy of, afterlife, soul, and all that good stuff. Prophecy of an ascension. They specifically don't have a prophecy of ascension, but it's common throughout others, and that's why I just needed to mention it here. Next we'll look at Sikhism. Started approximately 1500 Common Era or AD. One infinite, indescribable God. So infinite, indescribable, essentially what does that mean? Does it mean that it exists within everything and everyone? I would think so, but it's all up to a different interpretation. Again, service to others is their main philosophy. Aiding others in turn aids yourself, so on and so forth. Find truth within. That's another main tenet in their belief. Reincarnation happens. Balance emotions, seek truth and unity to break the cycle. Again, it's the same belief. And again, they have 7 heavens, worlds, or dimensions, and belief in 7 below that. Christianity started approximately 700 BCE, before Common Era. There's one God. Main philosophy is to love all, and Rapture will happen for you through the balancing or clearing of sin and believing in Jesus Christ as your Saviour. So that's how you ascend and move into the 7 heavens. So again, those 7 heavens appear in this belief. Okay, in this faith, whatever you want to call it, religion. Buddhism started approximately 400 BCE, before Common Era. One infinite, indescribable God. So again, same kind of belief. Christianity doesn't quite say it's indescribable or anything like that. They tend to go into the description of this God, as you've probably heard. It must be a human, human entity. I won't go into it. I just want to touch on these basic concepts here, because I'm trying to paint a picture for you. Back to Buddhism. Service to others is the main philosophy. There's Four Noble Truths. That's a large topic, so I won't try and go into that at all. If you want to know about it, look into it. It's a beautiful religion, and Four Noble Truths are beautiful, but they do tangent off into many aspects that could talk about for ages, so I won't. Reincarnation. Again, same thing, balance emotions, seek truth, love, unity, in order to break this cycle and ascend. Again, there's 7 heavens, worlds or dimensions mentioned to exist, and you can evolve to go into those. There's also prophecy of Maitreya, who's coming to lead mankind into a golden age, and I'll talk more about that when I compare the commonalities. Next is Islam. Started approximately 700 BCE. There's one God. Doesn't go into it very much. They call it Allah. Main philosophy is being service or charity to others. There's talk of rapture or reckoning, or prophecy of rapture or reckoning, saying a Christ figure will come down to save humanity. There's also talk of 7 heavens, and when you pass on or go through this rapture process or reckoning, you'll move into those higher heavens. Next, Hindu, approximately 1100 BCE, one infinite, indescribable God yet again. Main philosophies, service to others, again, reincarnation, balance, truth, love, unity to ascend. Now they talk also of 7 heavens, dimensions or worlds, plus 7 below that, and prophecy of Kalki, who will come and destroy evil on earth and lead humanity into a golden age. So that's just a quick snapshot of the biggest religions, and there are many others that are fairly similar in their core beliefs, and basically what I'm trying to do is strip away the details and show the overall common philosophical concepts throughout them. Now, God is no doubt the most common core belief throughout the majority of religions. There are slight variations in what that entity may be like, but most say it's essentially indescribable and can say it's infinite and intelligent. Second most common is that we consist of the Holy Trinity called the mind, body and spirit. Sometimes called the soul. It's the eternal part that moves on once this body or container has perished. Next most common is the concept of reincarnation, where soul's purpose is to gain experience and choose a path of love and unity, or selfishness and separation, in order to break this cycle. Now, obviously that left-hand path, as it's known, or negative path, isn't as well known. That tends to be kept secret. Now, as I mentioned, there's slight variations on what's required in order to break the cycle and ascend, but overall the concept is the same. Now, there's rapture, harvest or ascension spoken of throughout them all, as I already mentioned. Many have this prophecy of an event or a Messiah coming to save humanity from evil and usher in a golden age. In Hindu, it's an avatar named Kalki. In Buddhism, it's Maitreya. Christianity, it's Christ. Islam and Judaism, not so concise, but they say it's most likely a Christ-like figure. There's also differences in what happens in this process. Christianity says those who believe in Jesus will go to heaven, while the rest go to hell or experience life on earth without these believers. The Eastern belief is that evil and negativity will be removed from earth, and therefore it will become heaven on earth. Those who were removed will get to continue reincarnating elsewhere until they choose a service to other path by using balance, truth, love and unity to evolve or ascend, or choose the negative path, which is the opposite. So, of all these predominant similarities, there are slight variations in each religion pertaining to minor details, as I mentioned, but the overall philosophy still remains. Now, what I and many other researchers assert is that religion stems from information given to humanity by beings not of this world or dimension. So I posit that the most common aspects we find throughout all religion could be called exospirituality. Exo meaning not of this world, and spirituality, of course, pertains to a metaphysical understanding. As many people know now, that there is tons of references to people or entities who came from the heaven, the sky, the fiery chariots, or chariots within wheels, or bright lights, and many other variations and so on, with names such as Anunnaki, Elohim, the Watchers, the Guardians, the Gods. These accounts can be found in the books of Genesis, Enoch, Ezekiel, the Hindu Mahabharata, the Sanskrit Vedas, and the Bhagavad Gita, also the ancient accounts of the Egyptian Sumerian epics. Not only do we see them in these religious texts, but also in cave art and oral history of Aboriginal tribes the world over, who talk of sky brothers, star people, Wajinda, so on and so forth. Could go on and on. And you can look more into it yourself and interpret it as you will. These beings are said to have often give humanity things like metaphysical and esoteric information to scientific and technological information. So who or what are these beings? Are they hallucinations, spiritual entities, ascended masters, gods, aliens, ETs? I say all of the above, as they are simply the same thing, just different names. I'll explain this in great detail in a couple of episodes' time, but basically all individual forms of consciousness go through levels of evolution known as densities and exist in dimensions that correspond to those densities. But basically I'm giving you an overall snapshot of it right now. So we can look at we can also look into current events to do with this phenomena, specifically the work of Free, the Foundation for Research into Extraterrestrial Encounters, and also John Mack, who does the same kind of research and academic research. There's also surveys on it also, and what we can see, many people who've had contact with non-human intelligences, the majority of which have been benevolent in nature and have had profound positive impacts on those people's lives. These cases and studies into this sound almost identical to the information that comes from these religious texts, written and oral histories that I've been talking about. So some of these contactees have gone on to start up churches and religions based on the information that they've received. And doesn't that sound just like what these religious texts are telling us, what's happened in the origins of their faith? I'll talk more on this in detail in future episodes, and more on these UFO religions. But what is important to note here is that they all have the same core philosophies of God, mind, body, soul, reincarnation, this prophecy of ascension. So when we also look into our current situation on Earth right now in regards to royals and secret societies, we know that everything they do revolves around the agenda of their bloodline and maintaining its purity. Now, to look at this from an outside perspective sounds absolutely preposterous. Why should anyone have the right to rule over other people just based on their bloodline? Well, when we trace back these lineages as far back as we can, we find a belief that is of a negative and ET origin called the sons or children of Belial or Baal, also known as the children of darkness. The other belief group that was operating at the time, or religion, whatever you wish to call it, was the sons of the law of one, or the children of the law of one, or children of light. So basically, advanced metaphysical information was given to humanity, then it was corrupted, turned into a control system. Now, while the truth is kept secret from the majority, and thus this sparked the first of secret societies, have used this system to control for centuries. Now, as I mentioned, this all stems back to an entity known as Belial or Baal. This entity is also known as Enlil, Moloch, and Beelzebub, who these elite rulers link their lineage back to. Again, I'll cover this in more detail in future episodes, and I've provided links for those who wish to check it out more now. Now, I don't want to harp too much more about this concept of religion being given to us by entities not of this world, as I know it's been done to death, especially by ancient aliens. But one last thing to note for those who do wish to look more into the extraterrestrial origins of religion and that line of interpretation of religious texts, should look into the work of Robert Morningstar, Dan Winter, Reverend Michael Carter, Rabbi Azrael Bart Zadok, Barry Downing, Chris Corbelli, Carlos Crespi, and Corrado Balducci. Now, I'm not saying all of these people paint a particularly beautiful picture in their interpretations, but they certainly prove the point I'm making here and give you further avenues of research. Now, for my favourite part of these episodes, the philosophy and its impacts. Imagine with me that you are a highly advanced positive being. You rely on the advancement of less advanced beings in order for you to advance further. Naturally, you would give them information, technology, and metaphysical knowledge to try and keep them on target. Now, let's imagine the opposite is the same. You are a highly evolved negative entity who, in order to advance further, needs lesser evolved entities or beings to advance on the negative path. Naturally, you would show them how to use this information that they have been given, as well as give them information about what is known as the left-hand path or negative path, to control the masses, accumulate great wealth, power, and if they stick to the agenda of have control over the whole world. Obviously, when we look at the psychology of the majority of mankind, we know that we are far more highly motivated by negative situations, in that we'll do everything possible to not be in a situation we deem negative. But we're not so highly motivated to do everything to achieve positive things or goals in our life. So, are there checks and balances going on here in the more advanced dimensions? It seems the answer is yes, and I'll tackle this further and uncover more of this in my next episode. So please hit like, subscribe, and watch the next episode of Accessing the Akashic Records, called The Law of One Throughout History. I'm Travis Steele, love and light, namaste.